So Amendment 3, you know it's going to be on the ballot. There's been just very, very little discussion that I've been part of that if I'm elected, what we as Republicans can possibly do if this gets passed and it becomes in our Constitution, that we're gonna look at what can we do as legislators to soften this, kind of rectify it to some degree. I personally don't know what those options are at this point, but there'll be something that we're able to do. But in the meantime, we've got to get the word out, we've got to educate people. You know, there's 15 million Christians across the country that don't vote. That would sway elections, you know, immediately if just a percentage of them got out and voted. So talking to our pastors and churches, I know many of us have done it. I've talked to pastors for years, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep at it and keep trying to inform them. I've talked to 3 or 4 of my pastor friends, and they didn't even know anything about Amendment 3, much less that it was going to be on the ballot. So that's the pure ignorance that's out there. Yeah. So I just don't know what all they are. Yeah.
I like how Jody told us that this is a great conversation with those on the left that aren't really sure when you start talking about that, who their vote over. So can you tell us how you shared that with your pastors, or how you share that with people that you're talking?
So I don't, yeah. So it's about how I talk about or phrase Amendment 3 when I'm talking with people about it. So when I go to the doors, I don't really get the question hardly at all about abortion like I did 2 years ago. It's just not on people's minds for the most part. If it comes up, because I think we need to be very careful as Republicans on how we phrase this, because it has the potential, especially in my district and some others, to be a candidate killer. And I'll give you an illustration. 2 years ago when I ran for Senate in District 8, which is much more Republican than this district, that was right at the time when the Supreme Court kicked Roe versus Wade back to the states. So it was made TV, it was very, contentious, it was very emotional. And when I was out knocking on doors, I got the question constantly, and I was only focused on Republicans, but it was coming from Republican women. And Republican women, most of them, as soon as I mentioned that I'm pro-life, they handed my stuff back.
Wow.
That's Republican women. So we have to be very careful how we're phrasing this right now. I'm just going to give you my opinion. Are you videoing? So it's all about how we phrase this, and we've got to be really careful because it can damage our candidates that are running, especially like Sean Smith, myself. I did part of the poll that I got, the results. 44% of my district are pro-life, 43 are not. So it's really close. With the margin of error and some of the undecideds, that could go either way. But I was kind of shocked. I figured there'd be more that were, for pro-choice than pro-life. But I think we just, and this is just my opinion, we need to be very careful how we phrase it right now. And then like if I get elected and other Republicans we see, once we get there, I think that's going to be a priority in the Senate and also in the House, is if this gets passed, what can we as Republicans do to rectify some of it, soften some of the language, whatever. I don't really know what those choices are, but that's going to be a priority.
Referendum.
Yeah, we're gonna have to try to do something, because the problem is, in what the Supreme Court, why there was a lawsuit. One is because this is going to change some of the things that were already passed into law, and the public was not made aware of the exact language. So, and really it should have been kept off the ballot, and so we could probably use some of that later. But anyway, that's